Of course, you start sniffing right as I press go live.
Yeah,
The sniffs, the snorts,
pre-button.
the pre-sniff. Let's wait for the bits to come in. Let's see if this works. You never know. You never know with this production. And we're live. Oh, wait. Here we go. And we're live. It was just me going live there. How about the rest of you fellas? All right, Lewis, you want that tweet action?
So ready for the tweet.
Have you seen The Matrix, Lewis? The Matrix movies?
Yes.
I think we should name this tweet Neo because this is the one. How do you like that?
I see.
Morpheus has been looking for this tweet for his entire life.
You sure it's a tweet and not an
X?
X-eat?
I don't know if I'm ever going to call it an X. I don't know.
We haven't really fully made the transition. I don't know. At Cult of Mac, like editorially, I can't. How can you call it an X?
Call it an X. An X mission.
And I mean, every time it's like, I saw it today. Somebody put in a story. Which they posted on X. I'm like, it looks like, a TK. It looks like something was left out. Like they left a placeholder where you would put the actual information in.
I think I saw like the Washington Post or some sort of that echelon of newspaper say the X social media platform.
EX
social media platform. XSMP. Zixmp? No, that doesn't work either. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably always call it Twitter. I don't know, because what do you call the action of tweeting? Is it an Xing?
They're just calling it posting now and reposting.
That's so generic.
Which is
what a terrible idea.
Yeah.
It's like HBO, man, changing the Max. What is with these people changing these iconic brands into something that no one likes or identifies with? It's very weird. I just think it's a huge... I mean, I get Elon Musk wants to make the app an app that can be used for multiple purposes, but it's Twitter. Like, just leave it as Twitter and build in the extra functionality.
I've said it before, like,
or something.
The hardest part of moving to Mastodon isn't picking an instance or learning how it works or anything. The hardest part is learning to say, like, post instead of tweet.
Yeah.
And repost instead of retweet. Why would you throw that away?
You got to call it like a Masty or something. Have you read my newest Masty? Or,
jeez.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know. You're the marketing guy, Lewis. You got a clever phrase for it?
Well, I never liked tweet.
You never liked tweet? Because I feel like that's so natural.
Don't.
It's like, have you?
I mean, it's become a thing now, right? But I never liked it. Tweeting. Ugh.
I liked it.
I mean,
it sounded great. Rolls right off the tongue. Makes sense.
As a noun,
memorable. Not
so bad. As a verb, terrible.
I don't know. I think it works well in both instances. I mean, it works better than X. Have you read my X, my newest X?
So if you explain, I've never really figured out why people say tweet something out. They don't just say tweet something. No, I tweet it out. It's like common.
It's a matter
of
confidence.
Bugged the crap out of me too.
It's like
you can't tweet it in.
Well, you could do it under your breath.
It's redundant.
That's an in tweet.
Tweet out. What?
Yeah, tweet it out loud, like you're proud of what you're saying. It's a volume thing.
Exit out loud.
Yeah, exit out,
onto
man.
X through X from X.
If Elon's not careful, a lot of people are going to exit and go.
And if you don't like
else.
the X you're Xing, you X out of the X.
Huh? Wait, you're giving me a headache. I have no idea what you just said. Oh man, our viewership is dropping precipitously. I can't blame them. We got
who can handle the headache?
Reese Grundy's here. Hey y'all. We got Q&A. Yeah, X is a dumb name move. I agree. Just stick to saying Twitter. Yep. Isaac says Twixting. See, that'd be cool if they started like a social media app that had like a steampunk vibe, and it was called Twixter. All the phrases were like, nah, never mind. We got Fieldy. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Fieldy, I got him. I'm not going to say anything else other than that. It will probably be revealed on an upcoming What We're Into or something. Thank you so much. Fieldy sent me something very, very, very delightful. And I got him. It took me a couple tries because, it's the post office. All right, I think we're ready to go ahead and dive right in. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I got to be walking these sweet buns out the door in, 75 minutes? 75 minutes. I'm leaving. If you're mid-sentence, doesn't matter what's going on, I'm walking out the door. So, and we got a whole lot of stuff to talk about. In fact, I don't even know if we're going to make it through all this stuff. So let's go ahead and Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. I love the Luke cam. Do you know you're on camera, Lewis?
That's just great news.
I was betwixt by L. Katie's love last night. Ugh. Gross. That doesn't even make sense, does it? I don't even think that sentence works.
Betwixt. Jeez.
Such powerful arrows that she can't even put her sentences together. Look, Mrs. D, if you're done grossing us out, I would love to get this show rolling. And we have a lot of Apple news to get through. So without further ado, we will get this thing rolling. Do I have my notes up? I think so. In 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airphone Elias. Join me today. He spends his evenings and weekends slithering around Apple's campus in a camo ghillie suit to gather that sweet intel you all demand. Some say he's Gurman's source, which he will neither confirm nor deny. He's the managing editor of CultCast. Lewis Walls is here.
Yeah, I will deny that. Actually, yeah, I am the source. Yeah.
Can you give us
I
some
just make it all up.
Also with us, he uses an external keyboard when writing because the friction from his inhuman typing speeds is known to melt the keycaps right to the board, rendering them useless. He's a newish writer at CultMac. Griffin Jones is here.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. I mean, what time
Evening?
is it? It's 3 o'clock there, dude.
It's not even evening where you
Well,
are.
look, we don't know what time our listeners are listening to this show
Well,
after
you know
the
what?
fact.
He is right about that, Lewis. We have
You know
a lot of
what?
people in the UK.
Happy
This is-
time of day.
You know, you get home from a long day of work,
Yeah.
toiling away at the fields. I don't know what it's like having a real job. You get home, you put like a turkey leg over the fire, you
That's the first thing
unwind,
I
you
do.
pour yourself your favorite drink. My favorite drink is ice water, and you unwind listening to a tech podcast. And the best tech podcast is the CultCast. That sounds
Are
like a
we-
lovely evening to me.
Where we talk turkey.
See, that's why you're the marketing guy. Honey, I'm home. Prepare my turkey leg, please. Have you guys ever been to Disneyland and gotten one of those ginormous turkey legs that they sell there? Have you ever
No.
been to Disneyland, Lewis?
What's the one in Florida? I think that's Disney World.
Well, you just answered my question.
Isn't it?
Yes. You realize that there is a version of that in California called Land.
Yeah.
Disney. Okay.
Yeah, you,
For some
you realize
reason,
I'm
the
an adult,
idea-
right?
Well, I don't know. The idea of you going to Disneyland is just so comically absurd to me. Like, have you actually ever been there?
Not the one in California, no.
You've never been to Disneyland, and you live like what? I guess you live pretty far from it. 7 hours away.
The big question is, why would I want to go?
That. Thank you for proving my point. Well, you should try it sometime. It's the magical place on earth.
Doesn't it cost like $8,000 to go there now?
Oh, come on. It's worth it, though.
Yeah, great.
That's
that sounds
only,
perfect.
That's only if you want to go for 2 days. It's less if you want to go for one.
And you don't want to stand in lines for 14 hours if you're a
Well, look,
16-hour day.
You can definitely avoid that. You just got to spend the $1,700 on the Genie Plus pass.
right.
And then
Yeah,
you only
and-
have to wait in line for 1 hour instead of 3.
Restrict yourself to only the spinning cups ride. Just all day, spinning cups.
Okay, look, here's a pro tip for you all. Disney pro tip. I know this is a tangent. I promised myself I wouldn't do this, but quick pro tip. So Disney has a program called DAS, where if you have a good reason, they will give you a DAS pass. I forget what it stands for. Disney Accessibility Service or something. And when we went to Disney World, my wife's sister has a condition that allowed her to get the DAS pass. And because she was in our group, it allowed us to basically get on all the rides at a time of our choosing, right? So it's like the golden ticket to go to Disneyland or Disney
Oh
World.
my God.
Now, hold on. Here's where it gets interesting. So I know somebody who went to Disneyland, and he was able to get the DAS pass too. And I was like, oh, how did you get it? Well, my daughter has ADD. And I was like,
Jeez.
everybody has ADD. Like, they let you go to the park, and I was like, what was your justification? They said, well, she has ADD. She can't wait in long lines. And I'm like, dude, everybody can't wait in long lines. But they gave it to him for that because Disney wants to accommodate everyone, which I think is great. But that's the secret. So if you know someone that has ADD, I'm not even sure if you need like a doctor's anything. I think you might be able to just tell them that you have it. Now that would be unethical. I don't think that you should do that. But I don't think there's a lot of scrutiny involved there. And if you have ADD, they will actually let you have a DAS pass, which is like the best way to go see the park. So you probably know someone with ADD. Bring them along. It's probably worth it.
What if you just get one of those like, boots for your feet, like the sprained ankle boot, just strap it on.
I don't think that counts.
Slide a flask in there. You can have a real fun day.
Although I did see a story that Disney is thinking about allowing or selling more alcohol at the parks. Times are tough. So they're going to start selling alcohol at the parks. That's going to be what the kids want to see is, drunk guys throwing blows outside of It's a Small World.
Wrestling with Goofy.
Oh, you let me go. The guy just punching his face.
Now, dented in Goofy face.
Now I've intrigued you. I think now you're actually interested in going to Disney.
Slightly more fun.
You should take LK with you. That would be a new story to behold. All right, everyone. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here today. Oh, did I actually boot up the stories? Oh, yeah, I did. Go me. So, look, we got to talk about Apple's upcoming iPhone events. I think we know the date for it. We've got the rundown of all the Macs that Apple is working on. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, we're almost in hardware explosion territory. There's so much stuff coming down the pipe. We're going to talk about the M3 Max M3 Max chip, which I think is going to be my next chip. We actually have a really great giveaway to do today. And if we have time, Griffin's going to tell us why you should never buy a MacBook Air for college kids, especially because they have no money. You should make them work for it themselves. Maybe get like an iPad Air 4 or something old. And then I'm going to tell you about a great Apple TV feature that's available in tvOS 17. If you're not using it, before we get to all of that, I want to thank all of you for supporting CultCloth.co. CultCloth.co. Do I have it loaded? Of course not. CultCloth.co. This is the place to go if you're looking to get yourself a premium grade cleaning cloth. There is just nothing like CultCloth. And let me tell you, Lewis, the orders, they just keep coming in. It's unreal. I'm about to have to do another reorder because we're running low on the Cult Cloth. So if you're interested in making an order to get that in as soon as possible so that you have it ready for your iPhone 15, which is going to be coming out in mere weeks now, there's just nothing like Cult Cloth. The cloth goes through a special process. So every fiber goes through a special process that breaks down the surface area and creates all these cracks, like these micro cracks in them, which drastically enhances the cleaning power. And then the cloths are woven in a mega dense fashion. Like it's almost like a mattress. Like you press on the thing, it's just squishy. I mean, it's unlike any cloth you've used.
Truly mega dense.
Mega dense. TM.
So, Irfan, tell me this. What makes the Cult Cloth so much better than wiping my glasses or my phone on my sweaty old cotton t-shirt?
Well, besides the fact that if you're a profuse sweater like El Caney, all you're doing is transferring the sweat from your shirt to your phone or your glasses. Here's the magic, though. When you wipe your glasses or your MacBook Pro, your iPhone with the Cult Cloth, there is nothing left behind but sparkling glass and metal. Like there's no oils left, there's no water left, there's no dead skin. It is just gone. And you'll be continually surprised at how well it works. I know because I use them. I'm not just the founder of Cult Cloth, I'm also an avid user. And every time I use it, I'm always impressed. They just work better than anything else. I'll stop talking about it. Go to cultcloth.co, cultcloth.co if you want to check some out. You can get 2 free carry cloths with any order, $20 plus at cultcloth.co. Just make sure you use code CultCast at checkout. That's pretty easy to remember, right? CultCast at checkout, cultcloth.co. Let's dive right into the news. The iPhone 15 launch will reportedly happen on September 13th, although it could also be September 12th. It could be either one of those days. But Gurman announced in his newsletter this week that the date was going to be either the 13th or the 12th. Obviously, iPhone 15s, iPhone 15 Pros. We're hearing that they may stagger the launch of the 15 Pros after the announcements because of logistics issues. this is an ongoing problem. It's hard to believe that we're still dealing with this. But you know what else I was thinking? Does this not happen every single year? Every single year they announce a product, and then we're like, oh no, there's some reason why it's going to be in short supply, and you better go out and get it. Sometimes I think this is just TC's master plan. Let's see here. Multiple sources at various mobile carriers say workers have been told not to take the day off on September 13th, according to, you're going to make me say this word, I can't believe it, 9to5Mac. Thanks for putting this in there. This is because major smartphone announcement is due that day. If Apple holds an iPhone 15 launch event on September 13th, pre-orders for some of the models could begin, 2 days later on the 15th. The phones should then hit retail stores across major markets a week later on September 22nd. Production challenges and supply problems could lead Apple to stagger the dates. Yeah, I mentioned that. Rumors indicate Apple faces production problems with the iPhone 15 Pro Max's new display panels with the ultra-slim bezels, of course. As a result, the company might consider postponing the phone's release a few weeks. We'll see about that. Let's see here. Oh, is this a Gurman tweet? Should I open this, or is the text right here? Not that there was any doubt. Right there. Okay, great. Not that this is a tweet from Gurman. Not that there was any doubt, but September 12th event is being prepared as an in-person launch, so we don't know if it's the 12th or the 13th yet. So recorded video plus people watching it at the Apple campus and a hands-on afterwards, same as the iPhone 14. So there you go. I'm incredibly excited. I'm using an iPhone 13 Pro, and I'm going to be moving on to the Dynamic Island with Lewis, which is where he's been for the last year. Griffin, and you're on a older model as well, right? The 12, if I remember correctly.
I'm on the 12
He's on the
Pro.
Newton. Oh,
he's on the Newton. He is on the Newton. That is true. So he's using the Newton and the iPhone. Are we any of us upgrading besides myself?
I feel like I could be convinced, but I'm not sure if the rumors are accurate and there's actually nothing more than I guess all of the stuff that we've heard to this point: USB-C, the action button, the slightly slimmer bezels, the slightly rounded edges, and especially if the periscope camera doesn't come to the regular Pro, if you have to get the Pro Max to get the upgraded camera system, I'm probably not going to upgrade this year.
That's going to be the heartbreaker. If they do that again, I always feel like that's unconscionable.
I hate when they do that. I actually am thinking about getting a Pro Max, but I don't know. It depends on what they do with price increases. If they raise the prices, that's definitely going to make a difference in my decision. I also saw a story this week, we didn't add this, but that Apple may be adding a new camera sensor type to the iPhone 16, which would dramatically increase low light performance. I just kind of skimmed it, so I don't know all the details, but I was like, man, that's the feature that you want. Like, low light performance is like one of the most important features of any camera. Like, how well does it actually do in low light? And having that on a phone would be so hugely practical that I might upgrade it just for that reason alone, depending on how much better the low light performance was. But I don't know. I mean, my phone is 2 years old now, and I took it to Disney World, and I used it as my primary camera, which is kind of mind-blowing if you think about it, like spending that much on a vacation and then using an iPhone as your primary camera, which I actually think, in retrospect, was probably a mistake, and not something I would do again. But it did work really well, and being able to have better video quality, better photo quality is something I'm always looking for. God, I don't have time to do this right now. Maybe next week. I finally figured out a solution for my iCloud storage space problem, which I've literally been thinking about, obsessing about for probably 2 months. I'm almost out of iCloud storage space, and I just did not know what to do. There are no good options. I researched this for hours and hours and hours, different tools. This is going to be something we have to talk about next week. We got to work this in next week, and I'll tell you the solution that I came up with, which is a compromise. It's not something that I love, but you're screwed, man. Like, if you run out of iCloud storage space,
well, you could pay for both Apple One and iCloud storage space.
Dude, I can't do it.
Okay.
I cannot give Apple $40 a month. I just can't do it. I mean, that is just very unpalatable to me, to put it mildly. Giving Apple that $35 Apple One subscription plus the $10 a month for the 2 terabytes of storage, which is what we would need. I just can't. I mean, giving Apple $40 a month, it's more than $40 a month, actually. It's probably, Apple One is what, $33?
It depends on if you're getting an individual plan or the family plan. the family plan, I think they would give it for
Well-
everybody is 30.
Okay. Wait, so the family plan is cheaper? No. In order to get 2 terabytes, there's only one plan, isn't there? There's the $32.99 plan, I thought.
Which you'd have to get the $32.99 family plan on Apple One, and then you would have to, on top of that, pay for an extra 2 terabytes.
Oh, right. So the family, so you have to pay extra for the family plan? I thought that was just included.
I could have that wrong. I don't
Okay.
know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. But
Premiere costs $32.95, and it's for, it comes with everything, right?
okay, that's what I
And
thought. So there's
share
just
it with
one
everyone.
plan,
Share
one
with up to
price.
5 people.
Yeah. So I'd have to do that plus $10. So $43.95 plus tax. So I'm giving Apple $50 a month when all I need is 2 terabytes of space. I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to do this. I'm not going to go. into it.
2? Don't you need 4?
I'm sorry, yeah, for 4 terabytes of space at that point. So I just think that's outrageous because all I need are 2 $9.99 2 terabyte plans. That's really all I need. So instead of paying Apple $20 a month, I have to pay them almost $50 a month, and I have to pay for stuff that I don't want and won't use. So anyway, I think I figured out what I'm going to do. It's the best compromise that I've figured out. There's a couple different ways you can approach this. If you're starting to run close on running out of your iCloud storage space, I'm making a note. We're going to talk about this next week, and I will tell you what the best options are that I found. If you want to stay within the Apple ecosystem, I mean, there's a lot of different options if you want to leave the Apple ecosystem, but if you have other people in the Apple ecosystem, it's impossible to leave. This is such a major problem, man, especially considering how much video, how much space is taken up by video on your iPhone that is recorded in 4K that you can never watch in 4K, by the way, but it is stored. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Just wanted to mention it. What's the next story? Somebody save me. All right.
Okay.
Let's talk
about
the
the Macs.
M3 Max. Okay, take it away, Griffin.
Yeah. So Apple just finished the M2 transition. All of their Macs are on the M2 now, except for the iMac, curiously. But they're working on the M3 generation for late this year and next year. And people have apparently spotted a mystery machine on developer logs that appears to be a new M3 generation Mac of some kind. The M3 chip is Apple's next generation. It will be based on the 3 nanometer node, offering superior performance and efficiency. As we've talked before, right now they're still on a 5 nanometer enhanced manufacturing thing. It's all marketing garbage, but the M3 is going to be better. Mark Gurman in Power On, his newsletter every Sunday, reported on by Rajesh at Cult of Mac, opines on what he thinks is an M3 Mac Mini in third-party developer logs, because this is a machine that was running macOS Sonoma 14.1 and packed 8 CPU cores and a 10-core GPU. This is the same number of CPU and GPU cores as the current M2 chip, but of course, thanks to the 3 nanometer M3 node, it'll have a better performance and efficiency. So he also outlines all of the M3 Macs that they're currently working on. The 13 and 15-inch MacBook Air. Hopefully they will be both, released at the same time now that they have the 15-inch MacBook Air out. The 13-inch MacBook Pro. This is like I call it the MidBook Pro or MacBook Amateur. It's the weird one with the touch bar that's like between the MacBook Air and the real MacBook Pro.
TouchBook Pro.
Yeah. Apparently they're still going to come out with that, which is bizarre and confusing to me. They're finally going to update the iMac to M3. And the one that everybody's excited for, the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros are going to get the M3 Pro and M3 Max. They're going to boost the number of cores on these higher-end chips. The former could come with a 12-core CPU and 18-core GPU. The M3 Max could come with a 16-core CPU and 40-core GPU, which is slightly more than before.
Let me interject on that, because here's what I think is weird about this. I mean, am I probably going to buy one? Yeah, I'm probably going to buy one. Super excited about these. Will probably be my next machines. Absolutely love my M1 Max MacBook Pro. It's probably the best computer that I've ever purchased in my entire life. Absolutely love the thing. But here's what doesn't make sense, right? So they basically do a core spec bump every iteration. So on the M1 Max, you went from a 10-core CPU and a 32-core GPU to the M2, which was a 12-core CPU and I think a 38-core GPU. So they bumped the GPU cores by 6. But this story says that the move to M3 is going to bump the CPU cores another 2 cores. So you'll go from 12 to 14 cores for the CPU, but you're going to go from 38 to 40 GPU cores. So from the M1 to the M2, you gained 6 GPU cores, but the M2 to the M3 Max, you're only going to gain 2 GPU cores. That seems kind of odd to me. In fact, very odd to me. Don't you think?
A little bit. I guess it could be that they bumped up the core count from the M1 to M2 jump. They added so many extra cores to make up for the fact that the M2 was
only
a modest improvement. And now they only need to add a couple more cores to get similar jumps in performance, because this is where they're going from 5 nanometers to 3 nanometers.
Now look, I want you to hear this, because I don't do this very often, and it pains me to say this. That was a genius point. I think you might have been right. Like the performance bump on the M2 was so meager that they had to give it more cores so that it wasn't laughed out of the techosphere. Is that a real word? I'm sticking with it. And now the performance, because they're changing, they're shrinking the die, right? So from 5 nanometers to 3 nanometers, which is going to allow them to pack way more transistors onto it. So the performance increase is probably going to be big enough that they don't need to give it as many cores. That's probably exactly what happened.
I feel like you're giving what I said an instant like conspiratorial sort of twist.
No, not at all. No, not at all.
In reality, like they're limited by like
true.
the size of the chips. Like the chips are getting huge. Like they can't just keep adding more and more cores. They only add cores when they need to, you know, because these chips are gigantic compared to like ordinary like Intel chips. Part of that's because they pack like, you know, so many extra things into a single die.
It's a system
like,
on a chip, right? So it's not just a CPU. I wonder how much of an area does the CPU actually occupy?
I've heard that like the ultras are actually pretty substantial things. I say this because I've heard it. I have not actually observed an M2 Ultra chip, but I hear they're big.
We should put on like one of those white hazmat suits, fly to Shenzhen, and see if we can just walk into Foxconn and observe what's going on. Think we've been making those?
I kind of doubt it.
You don't think so? If we look the part.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'll be holding like a punch card, so they think I'm ready to like punch in and work.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I would love to read your first-hand reporting of how this goes.
When I wake up from the rampant tasing, I'll be sure to let you know exactly how I went. Actually, even if we didn't get in, that would be one of the most incredible CultCast segments we've ever done. Like, even if we got arrested and had to go to like a Chinese prison for like 2 weeks.
Live from the re-education camp. I mean, think how much fun that'll be.
That's great TV. Sorry.
Let me bring it around for one moment.
Go ahead. I just completely took us off track.
So while it's going to be a modest bump in the number of cores for pretty moderate improvements to speed, in this next story here about Apple's M3 chip spotted with 16-core CPU and 40-core GPU, this is just a tidbit at the end that I'm picking out here. The Bloomberg report also claims that the next high-end MacBook Pro could feature 48 gigabytes of RAM. You can currently only configure the 2023 MacBook Pros with 32, 64, and 96. So you could have more RAM configuration options in the next model of MacBook Pro.
I wonder if it would come with a base level of 48, or if you'd still have to upgrade, you know, from 32 to 48. It'd be cool if they just gave you the extra RAM. I mean, it's probably.
I wish 48 was an option. I probably would have gotten 48 gigabytes of RAM if that was an option when I was buying this Mac Mini.
But why? Why do you need 48 gigs? I feel like it's excessive. I feel like 32 is like kind of perfect.
I don't know. I do a lot of things with a lot of. I run a lot of things at once, and you know, admittedly, I'm no like browser hog. Like I don't keep like 200 tabs of Chrome open at once, but I keep a lot of applications running at any given time, and I just want my computers to be future proofed.
Yeah.
How much RAM did you buy?
I got 32 because I was like, well, I either had to go from 32 to 64, and I'm like, I definitely don't need 64. So 48 is kind of a good middle ground. I feel the same way as you. Like I often buy things from Apple that I don't need because I feel compelled to buy the thing that's the best, even though I know I don't actually need the thing that's the best. And sometimes I regret it. Sometimes I just feel good knowing that I have the best that they offer. But my understanding of it is like there are few situations where you would actually get close to even maxing out your RAM if you had 48, even 32. 64 especially, like almost no one needs 64. I think there are probably some physics calculation scenarios where maybe you could use 64. But the one area where I think it is probably useful is if you're doing really long editing timelines of like 4K or 8K footage, and you have like an hour and a half of footage that it wants to keep, in RAM. Like that's probably a scenario where it actually might benefit you. I mean, I make videos that are 10 minutes long at the max. They're not fancy. I don't have like 84 different levels of effects and everything like that. So for me, it's probably all overkill. But you know what? It does make me feel good when I see someone do a YouTube video that says, "Oh, the new MacBook Pro can export your video in 30 seconds instead of 35 seconds." I'm like, okay, well, that was worth the $3,000. Don't you think? At least I feel like I'm making progress in my life.
And what about you, Liz? Are you interested in any of the rumored M3 Macs?
I've got this M1 MacBook Air. Works fine almost all the time. Every once in a while, something starts spinning, but it's usually when I open a gigantic image. I'm not doing video editing. I don't really need to. I don't need it.
Huh? I might have
what to say.
M1 Max MacBook Pro available for sale, Lewis, if you want to throw down and not see that spinning ball anymore.
But it's only got 32 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, you're right. It's basically trash. I'm probably going to just throw it away when I'm done with it. I'm going to just throw it in the garbage can. Well, I mean the recycle bin. I'll be responsible. Hey, just real quick, we got a super chat, and this one's for $5. This is like one of the highest ones we've ever gotten. So I feel compelled. I have to read it. It comes from B2 Pilot, who is that a
B2 Pilot?
I think so. I think he's live in flight right now. On his way to your house, Lewis.
He's targeting.
He's probably trying to keep us talking so that he can triangulate your position. He says, I just got a Canon EOS Elan 2. I'm super excited to shoot black and white. I actually don't even know what that is. Is that a new camera? An Elan 2 from Canon? Anyone know what that is? I mean, I could
presumably B2 Pilot knows what it is.
It's probably like a new targeting position camera that he attached to his B2, and he's on his way to Lewis's house. That's cool, man. Well, thank you for that super chat. And I will just say to anyone else, if you absolutely have to have us read something on the show, and you want to give us some money in the meantime, feel free to do that. Thank you for the $5. That's super nice. All right, let's see here. Where are we going next? I think we're on the giveaway, aren't we? Lewis.
Only if you're following the show notes.
Well, I like to keep us on track. You know that.
How dare you?
I don't like to meander.
You like to keep us on track so much that you don't look at the show notes that Lewis and I are both looking at all the time.
Well, you know what? Sometimes when you get onto a tangent, your imagination runs wild, and I can't stay locked on the show notes.
Can't be bound by this linear thinking.
But you know what? We are on track. It's time for the giveaway. Am I right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And we had a great one this week. In fact, this
is one of the best ones we've done.
I don't think this has ever happened. So this is a limited edition iPhone case. That's it's called the Moon Wandering iPhone case from Pitaka. And this is, I said limited edition, right? I think they made like 999 of these things. It's totally sold out. You can't even buy one of these things now.
Really?
But you can win one in this giveaway. We're giving away two of them. One for iPhone 14 Pro and one for an iPhone 14 Pro Max. If you look at it, it's got some pixel art on there depicting the moon landing from 1969. It says the first step.
The quote unquote.
Yeah, right.
Moon landing.
Oh, great. Here we go again. And it's more than just a case too. I mean, it's beautiful looking case made out of aramid fiber and blah blah blah. Super protective of your iPhone.
Yeah,
it also comes with this Mag Easy grip, I think they call it.
Oh, that looks like a bottle cap opener. I was wondering what that was.
It's magnetic. It snaps on the back using MagSafe to the back of the phone, so you got a grip on your phone. And it also comes with this collectible coin that depicts the moon lander that definitely landed on the moon with a person inside back in 1969. No matter what some people might think.
That's when they called President Nixon from the moon on a landline, right? And he picked up and said, "Hey, are you guys on the moon? How cool!"
Yeah.
On that landline.
Jeez. Okay, so the Moon Wondering kit, when you could buy it, it cost $89.99.
Yeah,
You cannot buy it, as mentioned.
it's a cool case.
I mean, this thing only came out July 21st. It's like boom, sold out. Anyway, to enter this, you go to the cultofmac.com homepage, scroll down to the part where it says giveaway. Click on the link there. You'll find multiple ways to enter for free. Very simple and easy to enter multiple times. Get your, for one of a lack of a better word, tickets to win. Be sure that you enter the one for the size of phone that you have, though. That's the only thing. That's another weird thing. We've got two different entry forms on this page. One's for the iPhone 14 Pro, one's for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I mean, I suppose you could, be a jerk and sign up for both of them, but I'd just do one. I'd do the right thing and just do the one. Just do the one you need.
So yeah, just scroll down here to see some more pictures. Oh, that's a good one too.
It's a good-looking phone case.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And Pitaka makes really beautiful carbon fiber cases. They sent me one to review ages ago. It's super slim. It's probably one of the most protective slim cases that you can buy. So it's cool that they're doing designs now. And I know that many of you out there don't like to enter giveaways because you believe that you can't win. And in fact, that's the way that I used to operate. I won't tell the story of what changed my mind. We don't have time for that. But all I'm saying is you got a chance. You got a chance to win this. And
this is
yeah.
This is like kind of similar to the one we gave away before, the one that was inspired by On the Road, right? It's the same kind of like limited series based on some event in the past. You remember that one? The Sunset Moment giveaway we had a few weeks or months ago.
Oh yeah. You know why I remember that one? Because they're doing a killer job on their marketing images. Like, just look at that image, man. It looks like something out of Star Trek. Instead of Captain Jean-Luc Picard standing there, it's the Pitaka case. Looks great.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I gotta say, I'm surprised right now that it looks like the 14 Pro Max giveaway has fewer entries than the regular iPhone 14 Pro, the regular iPhone 14 giveaway. So if you're listening to the CultCast and you're a real Pro Max kind of person, you have an even better chance so far.
Well, it's almost even though. It's getting close.
Mm-hmm. Man, this doesn't have very many entries. We just put this up a couple of days ago. I'm kind of surprised that hasn't had more entries.
That's what I'm trying to tell people, Lewis. People just automatically assume they're like, I won't win, so I'm not going to try. You got a chance. Mark T from the chat, I agree. I won the Golden Girls magnet from Airphone. That's right. You did win that. I actually regret giving that to you, if I'm being honest. I also give away a router. This is a while back when I was doing more live shows, and I gave away a router, and then I realized the router cost like $600, and I accidentally gave it away. So sometimes you can win some good stuff. All right, well, I'll post the giveaway in the chat. Well, I just did actually, and I'll also post it in the show notes, so it makes it really easy for you. Barry Rose is saying, why are Airphone's levels so quiet compared to everyone else's? I have no idea. This is an ongoing problem. I'm going to turn up my volumes a little bit and see if that fixes it. I have been trying to figure this out for a little while now because my volume is maxed pretty much everywhere. Let me see if I can fix this right now.
It could be related to the soundboard not working on the YouTube live stream as well.
Maybe. Let's see here. Check. Did that help at all? I don't know if the problem is with OBS or if the problem is with my mixer. I really am just not sure because I have it all the way cranked. And you're right. The levels don't look like they're actually that good. Oh, let me try this. How about this? Did that help? I'm boosting everything all across the board. So let me know. Okay, Dipsy Doo saying, yeah, it sounds fine to me. Mark T saying the same. So I'm clearly going to have to continue troubleshooting this. So my apologies. I don't know why it's all of a sudden different because before it was fine and no one ever complained, and now all of a sudden everyone's saying I sound too low. So I'm going to have to spend some more time in this. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to be a good person. I'm going back to the show notes. Lewis, you're already talking. So why don't you continue talking, and this time talk about the iPhone 15 A17 Bionic chip and how it's going to improve everyone's lives and make them happier people.
Oh man, it's gonna be so much better. It's gonna come with a 6-core GPU and 6 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
Wow, can you wait?
Hey, Lewis, how much more is that than the phone that you currently have?
Literally no idea. That's not true. Exact same amount of RAM. Exact same amount of RAM.
Okay.
So supposedly this is coming. Of course, every year. Well, recently, what they do is they come out with a new series Bionic chip. They put that in the Pro models. They give this year's Bionic one to next year's normal models.
Yeah.
I never know what to call them. Regular,
Sure.
Peasant.
blue collar,
Pleb?
I don't know. Oh, jeez. So this comes from a leaker known as on Twitter or on X as also goes by, what's it called? Unknown Z21. All these names are so hard to keep. I like ones that I can remember, like Shrimp Apple Pro. That's a good handle.
That's an easy one to remember.
Yeah. So anyway, back to what this person is saying. They supposedly it's going to have the A17 is going to run at 3.7 gigahertz, and that's a notable jump from the A16's 3.46 gigahertz. Is it notable? I mean, I guess
the percentage
we
actually
just noted it.
The percentage performance improvement actually surprised me. It doesn't seem like very much.
The good news is 15 to 20% jump supposedly, and this is very similar to what you're talking about with the Mac chips. It comes because it's from a 3 nanometer node chip fabrication, right?
Yeah.
You cram in way more transistors, smaller space, so you get better performance and less, better performance, more efficiency. So your battery might last a full day. Can you imagine that? iPhone that lasts a full day. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It's been a while since my iPhone has lasted that long. My battery availability is down to like 86% now after 2 years. So I definitely don't make it that long.
I suppose if you don't use it, if you just carry it around all day, it'll last all day. But if you actually do something on it, like I do, like hours of the day, not going to make it anyway. So that's the big. To me, that's the biggest news. Like performance better, that's great. I mean, I almost never have a problem with the performance of the current iPhone Pro, but having it be faster and better battery life, that I could get behind. That is definite reason to upgrade, if not just for the titanium, which I hope to God is lighter than the stainless steel.
I mean, it should be. It should be significantly lighter, actually. I mean, that's one of the main reasons people use titanium.
Yeah, just yesterday I was walking down the street. I had my iPhone in my coat pocket. I usually carry it in my back pocket.
Me too.
I felt like my posture was better because I didn't have that thing dragging me down, like I felt like I stood up more straight. And then I started actually feeling like I was tilting the wrong way, like, wow, like it's so light on this side without having that iPhone in my back pocket. I don't know. It's very odd. The thing is heavy. I do hope they make it lighter.
You should get like a mobile phone carrying baggie with a shoulder strap. You wear
and a helium balloon.
And then you just put your mobile phone there and there. You can like carry it around like this.
Yeah, wouldn't that be sweet?
I think that'd be pretty cool. Then you save your back. Something to consider.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't find any of this bit here surprising, right? I mean, this sounds like just about what you'd expect from the iPhone. I keep getting confused. iPhone 15 with the A17 chip, not the A6. I wish they would just I want them to get iOS and the iPhone number and the chip number. I just want to standardize it. Can we just do like they do with movie series? Just reboot it. Start at 1. Just start at 1.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah,
wouldn't that be awesome?
There's way too many numbers to remember now with the iOS versions and the iPhone versions, and then the different versions for the different hardware. Mac OS, Watch OS, tvOS. I mean, it's just all over the place. You have to be Rain Man to keep all this stuff straight in real time. I mean, you practically need like an abacus to figure it out now.
Yeah, at least we've moved on from Mac OS 10, 10.10 Yosemite.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
that would have made it worse. I would have given up.
The whole thing of having like different like the beta on your iPhone, and then you're talking constantly about this year's iPhone and next year's iPhone, and oh my God, it does start to get a little confusing.
Yeah.
Start to wonder like how many times we just utterly screw it up just because you're so used to saying the numbers.
Sometimes I think about the different versions of different things, and I think if someone were to ask me right now, like, what version of what OS I'm running on what product, I probably couldn't even tell you. I would have to go look. It's just not something that I have an aptitude for, at least not anymore. Like even the Mac OS names of the different operating systems, I get those so mixed up now. And I always tell people not to do this, but what I've realized at a certain point, it becomes inevitable. You just go full canny. You cannot help it. It's not something that you choose to do. It's something that life does to you. And at that point, you just, you start muttering under your breath. You start swearing a lot more.
Like I have the early versions of Mac OS 10, like the cat names and the numbers, and the major features of each version, like just committed to memory. And I feel like I know like the last year and a half, but everything in the middle from like after like OS 10 Mavericks and Yosemite, like between then that was a long time ago. A lot of versions of macOS happened in the middle there, and I have no recollection of any of them.
That actually makes me feel better. I'm like, okay, so it's not just me. It's just kind of hard to keep track. I even
named
wonder
after
if
mountains
Gurman can
for a
do it,
while.
to be honest with you. Like, does he have like a cheat sheet that he uses, or can he actually remember all that stuff? I don't know. He's got to be cheating in some way. I mean, you're his source. Tell us, Lewis. How's he do it?
Yeah, he's got a post-it note taped to his laptop. I'm sure that's it.
That's the key. All right, well, there you go. There's your iPhone 15 update. Man, we're like a month away from these announcements. It's going to be cool.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I know. And
it's almost here.
And not only that, I should have mentioned this earlier. Not only are we a month away from the iPhone announcements, but we're probably going to have a huge October event where Apple prepares themselves to get insanely wealthy, selling all the new M3 hardware right before the holidays, which is like one of their biggest sales seasons of like the entire year, obviously. And so they're going to get everything as much as they can ready for release. The one thing I was going to mention just real fast here, God, is it too late to do this? Maybe it is. I can't help but backtrack just a little bit. It's been 418 days since they updated the 13-inch MacBook Pro. It's been 397 days since they did the MacBook Air. So we're almost certainly going to see those, at the October event. It's been 831 days since they updated the iMac. How bonkers is that?
Wow.
Mac Mini has only been 205 days. That was updated in January, so probably won't see that updated in October. The 15-inch MacBook Pro or the 16-inch MacBook Pro and the 14-inch and then the 15-inch MacBook Air and the Mac Studio all updated in June. So it's only been a couple months. So I doubt that we'll see those anytime soon. But to your point earlier, Griffin, which I forgot I was going to chime in on this. So now we have the 15-inch MacBook Air, and it has a radically different release date than the 13-inch MacBook Air. So the 13-inch was updated in July 2022, and then the 15-inch MacBook Air just came out. So when they update the MacBook Air to the M3, they're either going to not update the 15-inch MacBook Air and make you wait, a whole year to get that, or if you just bought the 15-inch, they're going to update it to the M3, and you're going to be in one of those situations like they did with the MacBook Pro a while back where you bought it and then 3 months later they updated it, and you're going to be immediately outdated, which sucks.
I think
big
what
time.
I remember hearing is that they originally planned to have the 13 and the 15 release at the same time last summer, but they had a problem like with the display manufacturing on the 15-inch specifically. So I would assume that they're going to update both of them to the M3 at the same time. It is unfortunate if you just bought a 15-inch MacBook Air, but again, M2 to M3 is only going to be another like 10. I wouldn't feel bad about it. You still have a great computer if you have a 15-inch M2 MacBook Air.
You're still gonna feel bad
You're
about
still
it.
Gonna feel terrible. It doesn't matter how.
I mean, I say that
again,
again, but then again, I also know that I would feel bad if they came out with an M3 Mac Mini. So. Yeah.
I mean, imagine buying a
terrible.
PlayStation 5 and then like 3 months later they announce the PlayStation 6, and you're like, well, I still got a great console. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone thinks that way. You still that knife is painful. You need at least I don't know. I feel like you need at least 8 to 10 months for that to not be a really painful experience. But even then, I mean, a year is kind of like, okay, it's been a year. Like, obviously they update every year, so that's not as bad. But like, if it's anything less than a year, it definitely stings. All right, let's see here. I think we have. Okay, should we do the MacBook Air story, Griffin? I think we got some time.
Sure.
You
Sure.
want to cruise through this because this was a really popular story on the site this week, and Griffin's about to save you some bucks if you are thinking about buying a MacBook Air, and you're a college student, or you know a college student, and that college student is expecting you to spend your money on a MacBook Air. Here are all the reasons you need to not actually do that.
It's not necessarily about saving bucks. It's about saving yourself the experience, and I'll explain.
Okay.
So Ed Hardy wrote this piece earlier this week that inspired mine about how college students don't need a MacBook Pro. You know, it used to be the conventional wisdom that like if you needed to do anything beyond the basics of like, you know, editing, web browsing, or I mean like writing Word documents, web browsing, all that stuff. If you needed to do anything advanced, you needed a MacBook Pro, but that's not true anymore. I had like a 2008 MacBook Pro through high school, later upgraded to my Retina MacBook Pro and all that through college. And, you know, it was the best computer at the time, and it was powerful. But I often felt like I was sort of fighting the form factor of carrying around like a big laptop around college. And, you know, there was no other choice then. You know, there was the iPad and the Magic Keyboard and the pencil. None of those were out yet at the time. But in college, you will find yourself carrying your computer in places you don't expect. You're going to be taking notes in lecture halls and like where they have like the tiny little like flip up tray table that folds away like an origami thing between seats, and it's like this big,
like
and you can barely.
Airplane.
Yeah. Like you're gonna have to try and cram a computer on there. You're gonna try opening up your computer to like study like in a dining hall, like in a crowded room where there's people on your immediate left and right. You're gonna be using your computer in bed. You're gonna be using your computer like everywhere you go, pretty much. So you need something versatile, not necessarily something powerful. So I present the argument that the perfect college setup for most degrees where you don't need to do like, you know, programming or video editing or anything like that is an iPad with a Magic Keyboard and a pencil, because you have the modular computer that will work everywhere. You know, you're in a lecture, you can use the pencil with the iPad just, you know, sitting flat on a table or in your lap, taking like the handwritten notes that automatically are digitized and text scanned and converted into, you know, notes that you can, you know, search through and all that. You can do inline drawings. You can go, and because it's all digital, you can rearrange stuff around as you're in class. Then when you're back in your dorm with the Magic Keyboard, you instantly have like the full laptop style keyboard and trackpad when you want to get homework done. You can even plug it into a display if you have the iPad Air or the iPad Pro for like the desktop style experience on a bigger display with Stage Manager. An iPad is much more versatile than a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, which is a laptop all the time, whether you need it to be a laptop or not. You know, whether you're like I tried taking notes on my MacBook Pro and it was garbage because, you know, especially in like math classes or computer science classes, you have to like use all these special math symbols that are like impossible to type on the Mac keyboard. So I would keep like the special character window open, and I would be like, you know, slowing down in chemistry class because you have to like write down all these like superscripts and subscripts when you're doing like chemical
So
formulas.
you're saying
and
it's faster to do it by hand, just by writing it?
Yeah. Oh, it's so much better to do it by hand. But then if you take your notes on paper, you got to like flip through these like notebooks and you can't find anything. And that's also a mess. I mean, we talked about this last week. I even resorted to using a freaking Apple Newton when I was in college, just because there was no better option then. An iPad would be like literally killer. I would, if I were going to college again, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't go for a computer science degree, but I would also get an iPad with Magic Keyboard and pencil instead. And the prices are pretty comparable. So if you're considering an M1 MacBook Air, which is still for sale today at like $899 in the education store, for virtually the same price, you can get the 10th generation iPad, the keyboard Folio, and the Apple Pencil 1. If you have a little more to spend and you're considering the M2 13-inch MacBook Air, again, that maps pretty well to the iPad Air, the Smart Keyboard, and the Pencil 2. And if you have, if you want the best thing possible, you can get the big iPad Pro with 500 gigabytes of storage, the same accessories, for the same price as like a moderately optioned out 15-inch MacBook Air. And you will still have a much better computing experience than anybody with a MacBook Air.
Plus, you have the ultimate media machine. When
Yeah.
you're ready to watch a movie in bed, or you're on a flight or something, or you're on a bus from Eastern Washington to Western Washington, dude, the seats on that bus are the most space deficient seats I've ever been on. They were worse than any airplane that I've ever been on. They crammed the seats on that bus. Like the seat in front of me had a flip down tray, and you literally could not even open it. It would hit your chest before it opened all the way. That's how close the seats were.
That's
So
handy.
clearly the seats were designed to have like this flip down seat, but the flip down table, but they packed them in so much that it ruined the design of the actual table. And you couldn't even have gotten an iPad on that. But there's a lot of scenarios where you have not a lot of space, and the iPad, like an iPad with the AirPods Max, is like pretty much the perfect combo for an airplane because it tunes out all the noise. You also have like this beautiful screen to watch movies on. So there's a lot of scenarios where you don't want to have your Mac. And I tend to agree with you. I think that the iPad probably would be perfect for college students. And your caveats are important. If you're going to be doing video editing, content creation, if you're going to be a CS major, or any kind of content creation, I would say, and I would put coding into that camp, right, where you're creating stuff. Probably not going to be great for you. But like if all you're doing is like browsing the internet and taking notes and watching videos,
Like if you're not in a hard science degree, like you're doing journalism or like art or like music education or many of the callous things, or even like if you're doing nursing or like anything like that, like you'd be perfectly fine with an iPad.
yeah, I keep trying to tell myself that I need a new iPad, but my 2019 iPad Pro, it's still cruising, man. It's doing some funny things, like it keeps registering ghost touches. I don't know if this is like the hand of God or what, but like I'll be using it, and then all of a sudden it's like something touched it and it responds, and the web page will change, or it will take me to a YouTube video I didn't click on or something. That's kind of weird, isn't it? So
That does not sound ideal.
I'm not sure if that's a result of my kids chewing on my my USB-C cables, and then I plug the cables into the iPad, or if it's like the software or something. But dude, the iPads, they stay relevant for so long. I mean, the thing is 4 years old, and I could not even tell in any way that it has reduced capacity. The battery life actually is one area, but it still has 90% battery life left.
The jury's still out on Apple Silicon Macs, but I would say like broadly, iPads age better than Macs do, I think.
I think that's true. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because you aren't doing as much computational intensive stuff on your iPad. I mean, the hardware they put in there is such overkill for
It's also much easier to like subtly mess up a Mac in a lot of annoying ways, like because a Mac has like full disk access to the system library and the applications folder and all this other stuff. Like it's easier to mess up a Mac than it is on an iPad.
Yeah, maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. All I know is that iPads last forever. Like it is common for people to have their iPads for 5 years and not need to upgrade. So, because I keep seeing all these great deals on the M2 iPad, and then some of them are really tempting, but then I'm like, all I do is use my iPad for watching Dr. Disrespect videos at night, So like, I don't really know if I need anything more than that. And I have the Apple Pencil. I use it sometimes. It's cool. Although the note-taking experience on that year iPad Pro isn't as fluid as I would want it to actually be something that I relied on, as often as I probably would if it were one of the newer Macs. Let's see here. We got Dead Eddie. Everything else I do on my iPad Pro and leave the Mac Mini to do crunching work, media server. Oh, yeah. So he's got a Mac Mini iPad combo. Are you remoting into your Mac Mini? Oh, you are. Through your iPad? That's interesting. That's an interesting way to do it. I just love a Mac, man. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons not to have a Mac, because a lot of people don't necessarily need one, as you're saying, but God, I just love having a Mac. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up with this fun story here. This is something that I may end up getting into a lawsuit with Apple over, because this is a feature I recommended, and I even recommended a name, AirPlay Duo. And when they're ready to upgrade the feature further, AirPlay Trio. But it sounds like they have created the feature, haven't given it the title, so I don't think we're in lawsuit territory yet, but my high-powered legal team is standing by. So in tvOS 17, they're adding a really cool feature that you can use with your AirPods. So let me start that over. Apple TV 4K can play Dolby Atmos sound to 2 pairs of AirPods in tvOS instead of just one. The one thing I wanted to add is if you've never used your AirPods and Dolby Atmos on your Apple TV, it is one of the strangest experiences. Like, I can't tell you, it's been probably 5 or 6 times where I've had my AirPods in, and the Dolby Atmos is so good with the AirPods, and I have the AirPods 3, so they're not even the AirPods Pro, but it's so good that I thought the audio was actually coming out of my TV instead of coming from my AirPods. And you turn your head, right, to kind of like do that sound check, and it pans from left to right, and the noises are like all around you in the air, and it sounds like it's coming from the TV. It's a very strange experience. So in the current version of tvOS, which is tvOS 16, Lewis, in case you were wondering.
Thanks for that.
I think it actually might be 16.2. I would have to check. Once it gets past the decimal point, I feel fully confident, admitting I don't know what those versions are. I don't think anyone does, except for Gurman. But in tvOS 17, in the public beta, there is support for spatial audio for 2 pairs of AirPods now, which is pretty cool. So at the time that the article came out, this is a Tech Radar article, by the way. They're just saying that you can listen to 5.1, 7.1, or Dolby Atmos surround sound in your AirPods. So yeah, we all probably already knew that. I actually think that the Atmos in some ways actually sounds more realistic with AirPods over my AirPods Max. I haven't tested that feature a ton, but I have never run into an experience where I felt like the sound was coming from the TV with my AirPods Max. But that happens to me all the time with my AirPods, because you still have situational awareness, right? So you can still hear everything that's going on around you. And so the sound just feels much more natural. But if you are someone that watches TV in an apartment, or you have people in your house that you don't want to wake up, man, now it's even better than it was before. You'll be able to watch movies with the same person in the same room, both with your AirPods on, and still have it be totally quiet. That is until, of course, we get the Vision Pro, and then Apple releases its floating Apple Wall-E chair edition, and then we'll all be like 400 pounds each, but it won't matter because we'll all just be floating through space, and then all the tech trash that we've created will pollute the Earth, and we'll all have to go into space together and just live there. Doesn't that sound like a great future?
Wow, that sounds awesome.
We won't even have to talk to each other anymore. All those annoying conversations that you have to have every day with, like, your coworkers, your family, your spouse. You can just do it virtually now. Doesn't that sound good, Lewis?
You can just, grab and pinch an emoji out of the air, right? Just.
Or if someone's talking, you just turn the digital crown until it just like the mist fades them out of existence, and they're just no longer there. That alone.
That actually might be worth the $3,500.
I've just convinced myself to be an early adopter. We'll see. But you know what, my friends? I'm turning the digital crown on this episode of CultCast. We've got nothing else. And look at that. We're even finishing a little bit early. But if you want the fun to continue, we're all on Twitter. Griffin doesn't want to admit that he is, but he's there.
It's no secret. I'm on Twitter. I just won't tweet or anything.
He's just not
you
gonna
can
say
follow
anything
me,
to
but yeah.
He
Follow me
might
on
be
Mastodon.
following you, but he won't say anything to you. I'm at Airfun. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Griffin is D. Griffin Jones. You can also just Google Griffin Jones Mastodon. Boom, top result. He's right there. He's one of the most popular Mastodoners on there. Of the 150 people, he's one of the top creators. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. And we will see you guys next time. I'm going hoarse. You guys hear that?
I was gonna say, like Mr. Ed Horse, or
I've gone full Mr. Ed. That's one of the things they never tell you in content creation school, Lewis. You never go full Mr. Ed. Have you ever heard that?
No. I must have fallen asleep during that. Griffin probably has good solid notes on it though.
He has got like a drawing of a horse on his iPad. Never
Animated.
go. Can you animate them? I didn't know that.
You're asking me?
Yeah,
I
never
can't
mind.
draw anything.
Go full Bojack. I think that might be allowed. BitTorrent is the future. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. Signing off. Bye, y'all.